Call the meeting of the Board of Health of June 5th to order. The first item on the agenda under new business are the minutes of the May 1st meeting. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes of the May 1st meeting?
Motion to accept.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a request to address the board relative to health and safety concerns. Ms. Murphy, the clinical director at Megan House Foundation, has requested to address the board regarding the availability of Crantum. We have a handout in the packet regarding that. And so I would just ask her if you'd like to come up now. Sure. Yeah. That's okay. That's all right.
But I did research and I got facts, and it is the National Institute on Drug Abuse. And the reason I am addressing it.
Miss Murphy, I'm sorry, nobody can hear you because you're not at the mic. So if you don't mind
That'd
just
be-
waiting till you get up there.
The people at home want to hear you.
Is this the same as the link you guys sent?
Hi, my name is Mary Beth Murphy. Can you hear me? Okay. This is separate from the link that I did send you. And the reason I did reach out to the Board of Health is because I have worked in the substance use disorder field for over 27 years. And as we all know, the opioid epidemic, alcoholism has raised its ugly head since the pandemic. Excuse me. And it's just very concerning. I think we all know how concerning substances are. So on the corner of Mammoth Road and West Meadow, these two stores opened up, right there, two convenience stores, and it really looks like a circus. They have neon lights with a big cigar type of blunt with the smoke and neon signs flashing, Kratom, 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 because Kratom is legal in Massachusetts. Kratom is very addictive, it's mind-altering, and it can be very abused, especially with the younger individuals. And another concern is there's not a lot of drug testing for it. So, for example, if I'm in drug court because I'm using opiates, I can use Kratom, and they're not going to catch me. However, I still will get opioid-like effects. So if you look, I gave the facts. There are facts there for you that you can read. The last couple pages are pictures of the actual store that we went into. And if you look at the dosages, you can smoke it, you can put it in tea, they have gummies, they have capsules. It's really scary. And the last page, if you look at the boxes on the bottom, sorry, I can't even read even with my glasses, but if you look at the flavors, they're definitely geared toward younger individuals, like vapes, cotton candy, tropical punch, all the yummy flavors that would really entice younger individuals to use these substances. And it's easy. You know, if you're putting it in liquid or taking the capsules, nobody's going to smell it, nobody's going to detect it, you don't need any other paraphernalia. And when reading and doing research on it, I did see a lot of the high schools are having, and middle schools are having a lot of issues with the Kratom in their communities. So, I know the FDA it's a high concern on the FDA of looking into this substance and whether or not it should become illegal. I'm hoping it does, because it's very damaging, and the last thing we need is another substance on our streets for our youth and getting addicted, because a lot of people will use it if they're coming down from opiates, because it helps with the withdrawal. The facts are there for you. So I'm concerned, and I'm wondering what we can do as a community. I was blown away at the store. I was just blown away. And the advertisement on the corner, kids are walking up and down that area constantly. The bus stop is right there because there's a school up the street. I don't know if there's an age restriction. I'm sorry, I thought it was 21, but Kerry and I were talking, and we're not 100% sure if there's an age restriction. I have a hard time talking to the guy when I go into the store, I'm not gonna lie, because he thinks it's funny. It's all natural, it's all natural. However, he wouldn't give it to his kids, so. I really wanted to bring to light and to hopefully that's something that we can do as a community regarding this.
Okay. Thank you very much for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you, and Kerry has some information you want to share, what you just found on your phone?
Oh, well, I was here for more support for her, but.
Oh.
Thanks.
It's nice to see you.
Executive Director for the Greater Lowell Health Alliance, and she brought it to our attention as a coalition, and I think I recommended that she bring this to the Board of Health because it does seem like something that you all would be interested in. I said, as a coalition, we can do things like, prepare materials and get that out to the schools, but sometimes that can be a little difficult as well because you don't want to tell the kids about these products. So it could, but I was just talking with her about, there's lots of information online about other towns in Massachusetts that have tried to ban this substance. So if that is what the board had, does decide to move forward with restrictions or banning, there are examples of North Brattleboro and there was another town, Belchertown, that have tried to do this in other towns and have pretty much succeeded, but one of them is happening December 31st, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. So there are examples of people that are trying to ban this. It is federally not a mandated substance right now, and so that's the problem. There's no clinical studies on this that have been conducted on people's health. There's not much research on it because it isn't.
So I'm just wondering, is it what kind of substance is it? It's not categorized as a tobacco? Is it categorized? It's not categorized as a drug? What is it? Herb? I mean, what is?
Yeah,
I'm just wondering what it's
the federal government. There is one document that said the federal government was trying to classify it as a drug. It got pushed back, and it's considered like a substance, but it's not. It's Class A or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So what I had read was that some of the states have classified it as a Schedule 1 drug in some of the states. So it's a Schedule 1 drug. So it's in the classification as LSD, heroin, and cocaine. So that's what they've done, and they make it so that you can be arrested with it. And 7 states have actually banned it. So some states have banned it, and then some states have put it so that you have to be over the age of 18 to purchase it or over the age of 21 to purchase it. But they have done it on a state level. It looks like the state of Massachusetts hasn't gone that far, so some of the states are doing it. Some of the cities and towns are doing it on a city or town level instead.
I think North Attleboro is making a regulation that it's only sold in tobacco-only regulations, and it has to be 21. So you can only sell it in a store that sell, vape shop or some tobacco shop.
Thank you.
Questions?
Yeah, so along those lines for either one of you, are products that contain it required to list it as an ingredient? That's okay. Are products that contain it required to list it as an ingredient? Because if it's not, it's totally unenforceable, right?
Right. I believe they have to list it as an ingredient.
They do. So the FDA hasn't ruled on anything, but they said, please, you have to list it as an ingredient. That doesn't make sense to me. That's why I'm asking you.
Because it's legal. So they list it as an ingredient because,
Why not?
right,
Yeah, but my point would be the minute we, enough places start banning it, if it's not required, it won't be listed as an ingredient.
possibility, yes.
It's the chemical makeup too. So it's, what I've read is that some towns will ban this particular product, and then they just come out with another one. They just change one little, molecule, and it's basically the same thing. So what people have done is, go further with the law around, calling it all, anything with, these specific ingredients in it. I sent some information to Lisa.
So in Lowell, we have, like for the tobacco products, nothing flavored because it is geared towards children. And people that want to buy this, if they want it so bad, they'll go wherever. So my thought is if we're not allowing tobacco flavored products in Lowell because we know that that's geared towards children, I think I would be in favor of being strict around this, especially since we know that that type of branding is specific to, attract children.
So there currently is no age needed for purchase of this item, is that right?
However, in the store that she mentioned, she found it, and there's pictures of it here, it's a vape store. So that store is an adult-only retail tobacco store.
Oh,
But that doesn't mean that, other stores, like a regular convenience store, might not have this in the future. It's just that it's picking up, a pace with vape stores first. And we see that, with other products as well. So at some point, you could see that in a convenience store.
okay. Okay, so, and then, in addition, we have in the pack, in an email from today, information from a proponent of continuing the sale of this. So I think what we need to do is to take it under advisement, get more information, look for Caesar, our tobacco control officer, although it doesn't really fall into the tobacco control purview. I don't know what your thoughts are, Caesar.
One reason why I would probably get involved to some capacity is because I get to see it. I'm always in the stores, and when there's new products, I'm usually the first to see it. So if you're looking at, if you contemplate the possibility of passing a local regulation that would restrict the sale, for example, you can only sell this in vape stores, adult-only retail tobacco stores, I can just seek out samples, just like Carrie just mentioned. North Attleboro may have one, there could be others that may have it. And I'm sure this is a concern that's been shared by my colleagues in tobacco control, because we've all been seeing this stuff. It's more prevalent in other cities than it is in Lowell at this point. So there shouldn't be a problem coming up with a language that could address the issue.
Well, it's not just language, it's be a willingness on your part to oversee it and hold people accountable and all the rest of it as well.
Right, right. You'll have to change my authorization, because you gave me permission, you gave me authorization to enforce tobacco regulations, act as your agent in that capacity. If you want me to enforce something else, then we have to address that. Another possibility could be for this to be addressed as a city ordinance. But in my experience, it's much easier, much faster to have a Board of Health address it, because this has health concerns. It makes sense to be in this body right here.
Yeah. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions, comments?
Are there any conversations happening about this product statewide, like at any of the statewide groups that you attend, CSAR, or anyone else that you know of?
Yes, I've heard about this product before he came to Lowell, and I heard it at meetings that we have, statewide meetings or local, regional Board of Health meetings. My colleagues have been seeing this in some of the cities, and they've been discussing this. The concern has been raised, but it's been growing like in increments. Progressively, we see more and more of it, to the point where we now see them in Lowell. At this stage, is at adult-only retail tobacco stores, but like I said, there's no saying what's going to happen in another month. These things happen very fast.
So we could maybe reach out to DPH to see if they're having a conversation about a statewide
Yes, as
recommendation.
far as I know, there's no conversation of I mean, are you suggesting that maybe a conversation for maybe a state law?
Some kind of guidelines or state regulations or
Yeah, and I was
It's
wondering-
unlikely there's any conversation about a proposed state law, because usually it happens from the ground up. So you'll see like in a wave of cities adopting certain types of regulations, and then the state gets, the hint, it might pass as a state law. But the concern has been raised within DPH, within tobacco control.
Okay.
Because we see it all the time.
So what would you like to do? We can review it and come back next month and consider options, or we could ask for a proposal from Cesar and the Health Department, a recommendation from them for next month. If we're all in agreement that we think we should do something, then I would say we'd ask Cesar to come up with a proposal for what would the regulation be, how would it be implemented and enforced?
Do we have that motion?
Oh, sure, I'll make that motion. Don't ask me to repeat it, but I'll make it.
So the
Dr.
motion
Galvin's-
is
oh,
a
sorry, go
request for Cesar and Lisa to create a proposal for,
For restricting
Restricting the availability and
sale of kratom or whatever it is.
Kratom, how do we pronounce this?
Creighton.
Creighton.
The next meeting would be August, right?
Yes.
So it'll be 2 months to time to get it.
Not really, because I plan on taking vacation in July. But I'll start working on this, by the way.
Thank you.
Just need a second.
Second, Aaron.
Well, thank you both for bringing it forward to us.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you. I'm so pleased at the response and reception of it because it's concerning.
Yeah.
So thank you. I look forward to hearing the proposal and so forth.
We appreciate you bringing it to us, and of course, whatever Terry tells us to do, we do, so.
Thank you so much for your email and for reaching out and coming tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Tobacco Control Monthly Report.
Yes, there's a few things that I want to highlight in the report. The first one is that we've been doing education in the city of Lowell, primarily towards educating retailers about Kratom, about Delta 8 and Delta 9 products. As far as Kratom is concerned, we're basically raising up, there's concerns about this drug or this substance, so don't buy a lot of this stuff, because at some point that could be a regulation, and if you buy a lot of this stuff, you may be stuck with it. As far as Delta 8 and Delta 9 products, there is a city ordinance that restricts the sale of these products, prohibit the sale of these products, and the Tobacco Control Director is one of the enforcing agents of that city ordinance. So we started to educate retailers about this. We're not citing anybody yet. We just, if we encounter the product, we're just educating them and asking them to remove the products, but we're not going out with the intent to cite people for having the product at this stage. We want to educate them about this, make sure they understand it, and, but we want to make sure they don't have their products on the premises, because this city ordinance was adopted in 2014. We did a round of compliance checks in May, actually a couple of rounds, 3 different dates, on the 17th and the 13th of May. Actually, only 2 dates, I guess. It looks that way, because I did some compliance checks in Lawrence as well. So we had 8 violations, 8 sale tobacco to a minor. 2 of these were second offenders. They were issued fines of $2,000. They haven't paid yet because it just got notifications that they failed, this round of compliance checks. We only have a couple of these stores that have paid their fines already. Varnum Market is one of them, and Village Variety. On the other side of my report, I've been trying to keep this board abreast of what's going on with something that's called nicotine-free generation policies. So the city of Brookline adopted a policy that banned the sale of tobacco products, for people born after a certain date or from a certain date forward. And that seems to be a movement towards cities adopting these types of regulations. The city of Melrose has adopted this regulation. It's called NFG for short. They adopted it on April 18th. Malden has adopted it on May 22nd. Medford, we'll hold a public hearing on June 18th. The city of Reading, there's a public hearing that was, they expect the board to vote. They had a public hearing in May 20th, but the board will vote on June 13th. Stoneham has adopted NFG. Wakefield has adopted NFG. Winchester, and the city of Chelsea is actually in discussions about the possibility of adopting a similar policy. So my guess is that, I've seen this before, what you're probably going to see is like a greater wave, and more cities and towns are going to start considering these types of regulations. And the reason is because they have the biggest bang for the buck. I mean, it's an awesome legacy to leave behind. You say, we're protecting this whole generation of people that won't be able to actually easily purchase tobacco products. Yes. Yes, the city of Brookline was sued. The Board of Health was sued, and ultimately the SJC decided that, it was within the regulation that the city passed did not conflict with state law. So they were within their rights to adopt this regulation. It's not inconsistent with the state law. And the biggest argument made by the opposition was that this was inconsistent with the state law, but they lost. So after Brookline adopted this, we see this wave starting. So
What's the date? It's a birth date, 1/1/2004.
29 years.
Oh, okay, here it is.
40 age, you can't smoke.
So-
Whatever the date is.
right.
And you're saying that if I'm 30 years in one day, I can start smoking today, even if I never smoked before, but the guy who's got 2 days younger than me, sorry, you're not allowed to start smoking. I have a feeling that is going to be challenging. More than just the consistent with state law.
Well, it's a restriction within a city, it's not a restriction within the whole country. So, that person who decides to smoke or use tobacco products, I'm sure they'll be able to find the product someplace else and buy illegally. But this is what's going on right now. I want to keep you abreast. I don't have a proposal.
Right.
I'm
I'd be just curious whether it's really going to stand
So
up.
if-
Right,
It's-
but it's been
I see the
tested
value.
as far as the high court of the
In a
state.
year or two, you're old enough.
We now have,
You're on the loan, you'd have to have some.
we also have a tobacco permit suspension hearing tonight. This involves the store called Yaya Cigars and Vapes. We have a representative from that store here, Mr. Jack Abud, the owner, is here tonight. The violation that occurred was out-of-compliance checks conducted on January 12th. On that particular date, we checked 38 establishments. We had 2 violations on that date. One was a sale to a minor by 7-Eleven at 970 Gorham Street, and the other violation was at Yaya's, where this 19-year-old boy that you see a picture before you there on the table was able to enter the store, and this is an adult-only retail tobacco store. So in order to be an adult-only retail tobacco store, you have to ensure that no one younger than 21 years of age is allowed to enter, even if accompanied by the parents, at any time. So the moment this young boy crossed the threshold of the door, he was inside. He was asked for ID inside, but he already incurred, the store had already incurred a violation. So this was a second violation for this particular store in the last 2 years. They had been issued a fine back in August 8th of 2021 for offering flavored tobacco. So they issued a fine of $1,000 back then. They were not, the tobacco permit was not suspended because it was not a sale to a minor. They just had the product for sale. In this particular situation, there's a second offense. It's not a sale to a minor, but it's a second violation of the state law. As a second violation, it carries a fine of $2,000, which the store has paid. It also carries a suspension of 7 consecutive business days on that tobacco permit. I want to give you a little sense of what the history is with this particular store. Like I said, the first violation within this last 36 months was on August 8, 2021. But other than that particular violation, there's been other violations for which the store has not been fined. The most recent one was yesterday. there was a reinspection by Jonathan, the contractor we use. He found Delta 8 and Delta 9 products there. These products were brought back to the store because on May 21st, Jonathan was there. He called me because the owner was very resistant to removing these products. He was there for almost an hour already, so he contacted me, and I went to the store, and after some discussion, Mr. Abu decided to remove those products. You can't have those products there for sale. It's illegal for them to be selling those products, but, he just brought them back yesterday, all right? So, on January 15th of 2024, we found flavored natty wraps in the store. These are tobacco flavor enhancers. As you recall, this sparked a little discussion way back when the state law was first adopted, because these are flavored wraps. But there was a question as to whether the wraps, because they're made out of hemp, whether they would be subject to the same language of the state law. A lot of us felt that it was, but, but back then it was just like in the beginning. So after much discussion, deliberation, it is the consensus across the state that it is a flavor product that can easily be combined with a tobacco product to give it flavor. So the fact that it's made out of hemp is irrelevant. And last year, we addressed the local regulation here. We changed the local regulation to be a little clearer, saying that flavor wraps of any type, it's a tobacco flavor enhancer, regardless of its constituents. So the fact it's made out of hemp is a no factor. So we found that on January 15th. We did not issue them a citation. We used that opportunity to educate the owner one more time. But what you're going to see throughout these presentation is that there seems to be a pattern of resistance by the owner. I like him, but he can be very combative at times. He can be very reluctant, to say mildly, about complying with the law. And sometimes, products are removed, but they're brought back into the store. So there's been several violations over the years. You can see a list of those violations there. But one that I want to call your attention for is actually from May 12th of 2021. Sorry. We found blunt wraps, and then while Jonathan was in the store, he saw a customer come in, and the customer asked for the list of flavored tobacco products. So, 2021, right. But the state law was already in place. So the customer asked for a list of flavored tobacco products. Seeing that there was an inspector in the store, I'm not sure whether the owner was there or somebody else was there, but they started saying, no, we don't sell flavored tobacco, we don't sell flavored tobacco. And the kid kept saying, no, I was here yesterday, I purchased it yesterday, I want to buy it again today. But because the inspector was there, that did not happen. Outside the store, there was a pack of electronic cigarettes, and it was a flavored electronic cigarettes. The packaging was a flavored electronic cigarettes. There's no other store nearby that could sell the product, and it was just outside. And way back in April 3rd of 2021, we found flavored tobacco and flavored tobacco enhancers in the store. We did not give them a citation. We took the opportunity to educate them. So there's a pattern of resistance with the store that's raised my concern, to the point where back in 2021, I brought Mr. Abood into my office. We had a meeting with him, me and the assistant director of the health department back then, Brandon, to basically make sure that he knew exactly what we expected of him. We gave him copies of state and local regulations. We make sure that he signed receipt for those copies. I have copies of them here tonight. There's a sign-in sheet that he signed as well. So he got all the information he needed that we expect him to comply with, so there was no more problems, because we kept receiving allegations, complaints that he was still selling flavored tobacco at that location. There's been 2 instances in which we found flavored tobacco products in the store. They were there, they were not hidden, they were just there in full view, and we decided to educate them at that time. We did not cite them at those times. This was before that meeting. So, but after the meeting, we still got complaints. We got one complaint from a former employee who said that he was selling flavored tobacco, and he kept the tobacco hidden at a compartment near or at the gas station, which is adjacent to this particular store. So over the years, we haven't been able to find that stash, but, just by just by watching the movements around the store, you see there's something going on. And because of the complaints, because of the specific instances which we found flavored tobacco there, it's been a growing concern. That's why we brought him in the store, in my office, to make sure he knew really well what we expected of him, what was allowed, what was not allowed. But that seems to still occur because, we're still finding products there that we tell them that this product is illegal, you can't sell this product, the product is back in the store. So, when the kid went in the store, the time of violation, bring it back to the current violation. So he went in, and this was about 10:40 in the morning. The person that allowed them to walk into the store is here tonight with Mr. Aboud. It was about 10:40 in the morning. He was on the phone, and he continued to be on the phone as he talked to my kid, this kid. When I went in to enter the store to check his description, he was still on the phone. So this is probably the reason why, they failed this particular inspection this time. My recommendation in this case, because it is a second offense, is that, we are consistent with what we've done before. It carries a 7-day tobacco permit suspension. My recommendation is that we carry that suspension beginning on June 17th of 2024. Just before the meeting started, Mr. Aboud told me that he might be selling the store soon. He said within 3 weeks. He's got some health problems. I don't want to get into the specifics. If he wants to get into it, that's fine. But so he might be selling the store. So the sooner that I can actually carry a suspension, that would be on the 17th, unfortunately. So this is my recommendation.
And just to be clear on these other violations, twice now, you went, educated, warned, and a month later, they were right back to the show.
Either a month later or sometime, like this last violation, it was a few days
2 weeks.
later, yeah.
Yep, 2 weeks later, okay.
Now, can we just address the board?
No, I'll let my employee speak, so it was not
Okay.
going to speak now. It's just, go forward, his voice is too low, so I don't know if you can hear him.
I need your name and address, please.
Yeah, my name is Tarun.
I'm sorry,
Tarun,
spell it for me.
Can you put this a little bit forward so you can hear him?
Where's the microphone on?
Tarun, Tarun.
T-H-A-R-E-U-N?
Yeah.
And your last name?
Vudatha.
V-U-D,
Atha.
and your address?
22 Riverside Street.
In Lowell?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I just started working in November in the store, Aya Cigars and Vapes. I'm just very new. I'm just getting trained for that 1 month. And then in January, like a 1 month experience for me. And then I was talking to my friend and regarding some college stuff. And then the guy come and he pushed the door very aggressively. I was confused what was happening. And then I moved the door like he wants to use the bathroom or no. I think that is the issue. And then he asked for me the cigarettes, and then he said, oh, we are not selling any cigarettes, and then he left it. It just happened within just 10 seconds of the time frame. I don't know, he wants to use the bathroom. It was my intention at that time. It was my mistake. I'm sorry for letting the in and crossing the violation. That's my part. I don't know anything more than that.
So you thought he came into your store to use the bathroom?
Use the bathroom, or I don't know. That was my intention. He pushed the door very aggressively, and then I pulled the lever.
How many times do people come into your store just to use the bathroom? Does that happen on a regular basis?
No.
No. And you're still supposed to ID them, right? You were still supposed to ID them when they come
I asked
in.
them ID every time, but I was working very new. Like that is my 10th time or 11th time working on that store, and I never see any customer push the door very aggressively like that. And he's like young. I feel like 24, 23. So that let me ask him what he wants.
I just want to say that, I just want to add, if I may, there's a vestibule that somebody walks into before they can get into the actual store, there's a window, and that window remains open so they can easily talk to whoever is trying to get in the store and ask what they're trying to do. So he could have asked for ID back then. At that time, he didn't. And as far as pushing the door hard, the door is locked. He tries the door, can't enter, so somebody has to press the buzzer. He pressed the buzzer, he pushed the door. There was no conversation about pushing the door hard. This was an easy thing to avoid. He didn't avoid it because he was distracted over the phone. That's one reason. Maybe he was not properly trained on Mr. Abood, but there was nobody else in the store. He was not busy, so this should have been avoided.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honestly, I was very surprised that that thing happened with him.
Do you have
It
his full
happened
name
with
and
my other
address?
people.
Do you
I
have
would
his
have
full
to
name and
know
address?
he actually, he doesn't know nobody. Sadly, when I got the letter about the violation, I accept the violation. That's why I put it in 2000. Anyway I put it, anyway I see it, anyway you put it, he shouldn't have stepped inside that threshold of the door. That I agree.
Jack, you need to step.
Oh, here?
Name and address.
Okay, sorry. My name is Jack Abood, address 72 Berkeley Ave. I'm the owner of Yaya Cigars and Vape.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's why I was surprised, honestly, it happened with him. If it happened, and I don't want to brag about him, he's the guy, he's studying PhD to be mechanical engineering. So he's not somebody from the street that, you know what I mean? So that's why when that's why when I sent the letter to dispute, it's my fault. I didn't do it the right way. I didn't send it registered letter. It's my fault again. That's why. So now when he called me about the violation, I paid it. At the end of the day, it is a violation. The guy stepped inside. I don't argue with that. So I don't know. It's up to you. But if it was intentional, honestly, it was not intentional from him to do that. He made a mistake. 7 days. I'm not really worried about me. I'm telling Cesar that I have pancreas cancer. I'm going through treatment, because my attention, that's why I was telling that I decided to sell. That's why I was not at the store. Usually I'm 12 hours at the store, sitting in my office, exactly there. So it's up to you. My worry is not about me. 1 week is not going to make a difference. My worry about the 5 employees that work in there, they're waiting for their paycheck. I don't mind paying the $2,000. I paid it because I made a decision.
So just to be clear, the store would be closed?
7 days.
7 days, because your only product is tobacco?
Yeah, it's a tobacco store.
If I may, Madam Chair, Lowell, he sells other products. He sells hookah pipes.
I'm not trying to feel pity. I sell hookah pipes.
No, I'm just asking.
I'm saying that
So you have
for
to-
me, if I don't sell tobacco, I will lose less if I close. So I'll pay the rent.
So you will choose to close rather than pay an employee to sell some
sell
other
nothing.
product?
Because 60% or 70%, sometimes 80% is called tobacco store. It's tobacco store.
Right.
A glass, okay, you sell here $200, $150, $100. It's not the store. It's not the business.
Okay, thank you.
So I admit the violation. He made a mistake. The guy stepped in. That's a violation. I agree with you 100%. Now for the other history, 2021, he was saying violation.
We don't need to revisit that.
There's something. He's saying that one of my employees.
It's not relevant for
followed
today.
regulation. No, because this is affect my history. That employee, she was selling. I found her on camera selling drugs out of the store. I fired her at 8 o'clock at night. I actually didn't fire her. I gave her a warning. I demoted her from a manager to a regular clerk. Next day morning, at 9 o'clock, I start receiving the health inspector, the building inspector, the other health inspector, the city police come and check in my store. I don't know, even the building inspector himself asked me, what the hell they want from you? There's nothing wrong with your building. What the hell want to do? So she was chatting everywhere. I didn't say anything. couldn't. Now he says he fine. I'm selling. I invite you anytime, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, anytime you want. Come to my store. I'll give you the keys. I authorize you. Get 10 people. Open every box, every bag, everything you want to open. Come to my house.
Thank you, sir. But
I
so,
don't have nothing that's a flavor. Now you get me somebody, he goes ask me for a flavor, yeah. Now I'm gonna explain the list. When you ask me about the list in 2021, I said, I have a store in New Hampshire.
thank you, sir. So I would just like to stay on the, because we need to stay on the topic of tonight. Public hearing. No, you're not bothering us. You had your say on the 2021 issue, but we need to go back to the public hearing on tonight's issue. See, it's not really germane to the topic of the current violation.
Yeah,
But-
the total violation, I admit it, it was wrong, but it was not intentional. It was.
I hear you.
Especially with him. Anybody else, I would have said, I would not even showed up maybe.
But you hear that that's a problem, right?
Huh?
You hear that that's a problem. So you said if it was anybody else, you would have said,
But maybe-
I would have believed
I
it,
would-
right?
I would
So that's a
maybe-
problem with
I would
training in
fire-
your
I
staff.
Fire a lot of people.
Yeah, but
I
that's a
would
problem
fire a
with
lot.
training in your staff, and you're the boss. You're the one that's
I
supposed to
was
train
not
them.
there to start. Second, if any of our other white, sorry to say that, I don't want to find prejudice, I don't want to find racist, whatever. If any other employee I have, I would have 10% doubt that it was done, or 50% doubt that it was done intentionally.
Sir, with all due respect, it doesn't matter whether it was intentional or accidental. It doesn't matter. All that matters is it occurred. We believe he's a good guy, a hard worker, and a good employee, and he did not have any malice or intent to do anything wrong. It doesn't matter. It happened. It doesn't matter how it happened. It happened.
I agree with
So there's nothing to, we don't need to keep talking about that because it's not going to change anything, unfortunately. Okay?
So I'm just trying. So basically, that's all I
So
have.
I'll make
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Thank you for having your say.
so a motion for 7 days and the fine of 2,000.
Second. Second.
Vote. Yes.
Yes.
Kathleen, Erin,
Yes.
Bill?
You didn't ask for any comments yet.
Would you like to comment, Dr. Galvin?
Yeah, so I would like to address his concern and say, sir, we respectfully understand the impact on your employees, but that's true of everybody that sells tobacco. They could all make that claim. The problem, we respect and understand your concern about your employees, and I don't want you to think we're being dismissive of it. However, should we go lighter on you than our standard because of that concern? Every single other violator will come in here and claim the same thing, that they're going to have to close their store and their employees won't get paid because they can't sell tobacco, especially tobacco-only stores. So unfortunately, I don't think we can use that as a reason not to do it, okay?
That's fine.
Okay. That's all I wanted to have. I just want to make sure we feel for you, but there's not much we can do about it, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
By the way, Madam Chair, the issue of the fine is not an issue. He's paid the fine of $2,000.
Right.
So the only issue here is whether to suspend for 7 consecutive
Right.
business days.
Yeah, that's why
The
I
fines.
know I'm guilty. I know that something wrong happened. I saw something. So it's not the money. The money I paid it. But the other thing, that's my concern. Because if I didn't want to fight it all from A to Z, I would not have paid it. I would have waited for the hearing and tried to.
Right, and I'm sure that you've now re-educated your other employees.
Oh, yeah, trust me. The two was fired already. Because it was starting. I'm very determined. The
Thank
problem
you.
is I was not there.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. We wish you the best. Good luck. Thank you.
Motion, my recommend is begin the suspension on the 17th of June.
Okay. Thank you. Caesar will be in touch. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Caesar.
Thank you. Before I go, I just forgot to mention one thing on the issue of the nicotine-free generation policies. We did receive a letter from the executive director from New England Convenience Stores and Market Association. I have a copy of that letter here. Basically, what we're seeing right now, all my colleagues are getting these letters. They're trying to be preemptive because they think that local communities are going to start adopting these policies left and right. So they want to address it before you even contemplate the possibility. I do have the letter here since we got it with a request to pass it before. They want to pass it.
Is that something you can pass now, or should be next meeting, or?
It's up to you. Since we've discussed it tonight, I can just pass it.
Just include in the next packet then?
Yeah.
So she's gonna have a copy of it as well.
Caesar, do you know, I was always curious about this, the state went from 18 to 21.
Yes.
I am curious what the impact on tobacco sales were in the state from going that age difference. Was there a dramatic decrease in tobacco sales, or was it really not at all?
It is my understanding, it's been an impact on the number of, well, the prevalence of smoking, because in general, I don't have those numbers here in front of me, but over the years, doing our meetings, and we show charts and they show those impacts, what happened since we started, since the state law was adopted, and what happened since then. Around this been a positive impact upon the prevalence of smoking. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the monthly development services report submitted by Senior Sanitary Code Inspector Jimmy Lee.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
So before we begin, I did have an announcement. This is going to be my last meeting here for the Board. My last day here with the city is going to be June 28th.
What? Where are you going?
I'm starting my own thing, so giving myself an opportunity to try something different. So,
Good luck.
Thank you, and we wish you luck.
Thank you.
Do you have a successor?
he's here, right?
Okay.
Inspector Matthew Sheehan. I have the utmost confidence that it will take place and follow through on the standards that we've been accustomed to. Also, we just heard today that Don Murphy is going to be retiring same time as I am. So take it easy on Matt. It's going to be a little crazy for a little bit.
Wow.
All right, so we got quite a bit failed this from the last month. If you notice, though, the schools have been getting a little bit better. Lowell High, essentially, until the construction is going to be done and they wrap up that building, it's just open, and rodents is just going to be something that we're going to have to deal with. One thing that we could do to make it a little bit better, and I've talked to Banner Pest about this this week. So if we can implement some kind of sign-in sheet or something like that in the cafeteria itself. One of the issues was that we don't know when each bait station or glue pad or something is being replaced or maintenance. So from the outside, you look at the box, the box can be reusable, but the bait inside can be refreshed or whatever. And these things are often under sinks and stuff, so when they get wet, it's not as effective. When we're looking at it, we don't know when it's been cleaned. So setting up some kind of protocol in the cafeteria itself when he's there to number and label these boxes that we can check that they've been looked at will help a lot. Because right now, all we've got to go on really is that he was there and that there have been sightings and stuff like that. And he gets the sighting reports for classrooms and stuff like that, but not really from the kitchen itself. So that's information that could help Banner too. He still doesn't have the key to their storeroom. This is the freshman academy. He has to go there because the high school is kind of big, so he likes to go there off hours. So when the cafeteria staff isn't there, he has no access, and nor does the janitor. So if we can get the janitor keys in there, he can go in there and do it. In this case, he did make the exception, and he went there during the day to take a look and surface that area. But going forward, we don't want to make his job any harder.
Who are you asking to get that key? What do you need to get that key?
I want to see if Paul can get that. Paul St. Cyr, director at DPW, can get that going. I know it was common practice before where janitors had their own key machine. They would just make keys and change locks and and it would kind of make a mess, so people kind of held onto their own keys. That's the way it's kind of been for a little bit, so so I'm going to work with somebody to try to get the janitor full access to the school.
So can I suggest that before you leave, you update Lisa as to whether that key has been obtained for Banner or for the custodian? And if not, we can reach out to someone else. Shouldn't be an issue of getting the key
Right.
or access for Banner. So this sounds like there's two issues. We need the people working in the cafeteria to document sightings in a book. That doesn't happen?
I guess not.
Oh.
You know, they tell us, you know, and I've spoken to Rick at Banner Pest, and he's not really getting that information. So I would like the cafeteria staff to have some kind of protocol there where they can write it, report it in just the kitchen,
Right.
and then have a separate sheet that labels every single bait station that is out there.
So one is for the cafeteria workers, and one is for Rick from Banner to date when he cleans when he places the bait.
Correct.
Okay, and you're working on those two things?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You guys have any questions on anything else that failed?
I'm just curious why Don failed everybody this month. Is that because he's on the way out the door? You think he's going out with a bang or what?
Don's a very thorough inspector, so you know, he's not going to walk away from an inspection.
So I
we
know-
hope that thoroughness continues with the next regime.
Right.
So the Lowell Transitional Living Center, do we know what the failure was there?
So it was so they had a rodent issue, and then they also had their ANSEL system was not properly working. Typically when these inspections happen, there's a third-party inspection that happens, you know, the ANSEL company, whatever, they go and they take a look at it and they tag it, and when Dawn went, it was red tagged, meaning there's some kind of malfunction in it. So when we see that, it's just automatic fail. And until that gets resolved, it remains failed. So I believe it's now passed, right? So
I don't know.
all of that has been resolved now.
Okay.
Yeah, so as of right now, they're all set. There's a few things, I went over there, I want to say last month with pretty much everybody, fire inspectors, building, and all their own management. There were some recommendations that we put forth for the basement. They do have a lot of laundered clothing, and then they get a lot of either donations or people who are coming there. They leave their clothes there, and you know, they try their best to bag everything, but until that gets cleaned and laundered, you don't know what's in there. So their basement is not really a finished basement, and it's a little tight down there. They have laundered clothes in proximity to kind of dirty bagged clothes, and I was hoping if they could just separate that a little bit more, because bed bugs, they can get anywhere, you know. And in a building that size, it's a nightmare to deal with. So that, and then they had mattresses. So they buy a bunch of mattresses. They're all bagged up and everything. So when there's an issue, they have something to replace it with. The mattresses that they did have were unfortunately stored underneath a leak and not really usable anymore. So small stuff like that maybe we can fix.
Okay, any other questions? Anything else? So, I guess this is farewell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you for all your work,
Do a great job.
Thank
We'll miss you.
and good luck in your business. Thank you very much.
What business are you starting?
Software design.
Oh, great.
What the hell does that have to do with inspections?
I know. Being an inspector is the most random thing about me.
Appreciate it.
Good job, honey. Good luck.
Well, you did a good job.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Sheehan, good luck. Okay, moving right along, the Pride Star report. Any questions on the overdose report? Okay. The next item is the monthly mosquito spraying information. Any questions on that?
No, keep going down, you'll find.
National Grid update on their operational plan. Any questions?
No.
Under old business is the indoor air quality assessment of the 80s building during construction. Any comments on questions on the air quality? Or Lisa, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Nope, it looks good.
Yeah, it's all fine.
Great. The next item on the agenda are the body art regulations. Oh, okay.
It's just to make a vote to schedule.
So-
public hearing.
Regarding those body art regulations that we discussed previously, do we,
So I did talk to John McKenna today. He does not have any changes from basically what you said, you saw the last time. I have a couple little typos and stuff I have to clean up within the regs, but they'll be ready to go for the public hearing in August, but nothing's changed
Do we not recommend changes after the last
since you made the changes, right? That went back to the board after the changes.
I missed that, okay.
I can forward them to you so you have them before the meeting.
Yeah, let me take another look at them again.
yeah, so yeah, maybe we could get those, like before the few days before the public hearing.
Yeah, I'll try to send them out
Okay.
during.
So, do we need a motion to set the
Yeah,
hearing?
motion to set the.
Do we have a motion to set the date of August, what is the,
I'll make that motion.
of the August Board of Health meeting, August 7th? Erin made the motion, seconded by Kathleen. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. The last item on the agenda is the director's report. Madam Director?
So the public health report, she just took out all of the columns that had zeros in them, so that it made it just a little bit smaller for you, rather than having all the diseases that had zeros. Are there any questions?
On the opiate one, the numbers, do we just expand staff? Why they're just dramatically more, right?
Which, where are you?
Outreach program?
Opioid outreach program?
Yeah.
So we added a clinical recovery specialist.
Is that why?
So we added a clinical recovery specialist. We added a housing specialist. We now have 2 paramedics a couple of days a week. So, yeah,
So, yeah, some more.
yes, yes.
I feel like that window must be open. The noise. With the AC on, they have the window open?
And then the school health report, the numbers are high. And then substance abuse. Everybody's working hard.
Looks like it.
Yes. So, under the public health, the ICC, we still have some people to come from Bedford. Last month, we did an immunization clinic with Cataldo. So we had 112 children that were able to get shots. We ended up doing 62 children. There was a lot of screaming. And I think they're trying to come back next week to get more children updated for vaccines. And we should be able to get more families from Bedford starting anytime now, but they're waiting for the children to finish their school year. So probably within the next couple of weeks.
How many more families are we looking at?
It depends, because it depends on how big the families are. So there's the 2 floors. I'm not quite sure how many rooms there are, but it depends on how big the families are, because you put 4 people in a room. But if it's more than 4 people, then they'll take up 2 rooms. So it depends on how big the families are.
Okay. Okay, can I ask a question? How did we fare, or how do we expect to fare in the budget for next year?
So the budget passed yesterday.
Okay,
So I had to take like a 5% cut, but I was very happy with it. It wasn't anything to do with salary, so I was happy.
good.
Cut that board, those boards set.
No, we didn't do anything with it. Yeah, no, it was all good. Yeah, overall, yeah, no problems. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you all for coming. See you in August. Have a good summer.